Just wanted to show you guys that my arm is looking a lot better. Good morning, guys. Okay, today we're going to start the process of making pear butter. Now, I've spent the whole day yesterday peeling, slicing, dicing, coring. It was tedious. My hands were so sore. But what I'm using is Bartlett pears, and these are from a pear tree in my sister's backyard. These are from a pear tree in my sister's backyard, and she doesn't use them, but she's the kind that doesn't like to see stuff go to waste, so she brings them to me to use. I've peeled and chopped and cored about 20 pounds of pears, because some of them I'm going to save, because instead of doing pear butter with them, I'm going to just can half pears. But anyway, I got all that done yesterday. Thank the good Lord. And I cleaned my canning pot, because I'm going to have to use that. But anyway, let me get these. See if I can get these poured in here, because this is the biggest pot I've got to cook in, or that'll hold this much anyway. And guys, do not cut your pears and stuff up too far ahead of time. And I'll tell you why. Because if you do it 2 or 3 days ahead of time, sitting in the refrigerator like that will cause them to start to go bad, and they'll start smelling like wine, and that's not what you want. And it does change the taste of your apple butter. So make sure that you don't cut your pears up and slice them and go on at least a day. You know, 1 day is enough, or your pears aren't going to be any good to cook. All right, now all right, so now we got this into the big pot. Man, it's going to be full too, but it's all going to cook down. So what I want to add to this is 1/2 of a cup of lemon juice. If I'd gotten any more at all in here, I think I would have had to use a whole cup. 2 cups of water. And the only reason I'm using very little water is I just need enough moisture in the bottom to keep them from burning before the natural water starts coming out of the pears. I'm not going to stir this. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to push it down. And these have all been really washed really good too. All right, and turn the burner on. And making apple butter is a very long process. It can take up to 2 days sometimes, but it is one of the most rewarding. And as we go along, I'll bring you back in each step that I do for this. So Usually when I first cook these, I try to cook them about 8 hours before I go anywhere else with them. So I'll see you in about 8 hours. Okay guys, I've been letting it cook for about 5 hours on a slow simmer. So now, in the middle of it, this is what I do. You can do it different. Because basically what you're trying to do is cook off all the water. Look how far down it went. So now, there's a seed. So now I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of, what am I adding? Chives? Cloves. 1/2 teaspoon of cloves. You don't want very much of that. But the only reason I'm adding this is because I'm not putting any ginger in this. If I was putting ginger in it, I wouldn't be adding this. Then, at this point, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. And I'll be adding a little bit more later on. And 1 cup of sugar. And this is just about the 5 to 6 hour mark. You want to start really good. Oh, that cinnamon smells so good. Trying to get it where you guys can see it. But anyway, now we're going to, let me get my camera set back up there. Ouch. Now, we're gonna, I poured off some of the water, and once I did, it just like, almost like the juice doubled. Now we're gonna put the lid back on. And I'm gonna put it back on to simmer about another 4 to 5 hours or so. Then I'll come back and we'll get started on some of the rest of it. Guys, now that we've had this cooking for a few hours, after putting in cinnamon, cloves, and 1 cup of sugar, now we're going to use an inverter mixer to grind it up. You can use a regular mixer if you don't have one of these. Just be really careful because this stuff is hot, and a regular mixer will just string this stuff all over you. Now what we want to do is get this mixed real good. Some people like to leave chunks of pears in theirs. I don't like that. But while you're doing this, just be really, really careful because it is really, really hot. And guys, do not start your mixer until you have it in there. And turn it off before you lift it. That way you're getting a less chance of getting hurt. Alright, now that's done. Let me drop this in the sink real quick. Now, I don't know how close I've got you or how well you can see it. Alright guys, look at that. Just think, this pot was all the way to the top when I first started. Look how creamy. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a half a teaspoon more cinnamon. Not much, half a teaspoon. Then we're going to add 1 more cup of sugar. Make sure you get it all stirred in there really good. Make sure you start really good because you don't want that sugar going to the bottom and just sitting there. Now what we want to do is we're going to put this back on the burner and just let it sit there and simmer, because we want to try to get as much of the water out of this as we can get out. So I'm not going to put the lid back on it for right now.